absolute value formula. Who can tell me without looking? Who's got it memorized already? Who's got it in their brain? Maya, what is it?
Oh, gosh.
You can do it. You can look if you need.
No.
I'll help you. Y equals.
Y equals M minus B plus B.
Close. The absolute value, right? Because it's an absolute value function of mx plus, it could be minus, right? Plus b. The absolute value of mx plus b plus c. And I'm going to add something because sometimes there's a number right here. Do you agree? Have you seen that before? I'm going to give that the value of a today. That's the formula for absolute value. What's the formula for the vertex?
Negative B over N comma C.
Perfect. Just throw that in there, right? These are the things we need to have in our brains so that we can remember how to graph or how to find the vertex or make a comparison to the parent function. If this is the vertex, right, this is an ordered pair. This is your x value and this is your y value. Is that true? Looking at the vertex, if this is the x value and this is the y value, what would move your graph vertically? What would move your graph up and down? What variable in this formula, which I use for this formula, what variable moves your graph vertically up and down? Joseph?
C.
C. Positive C moves it up, and negative C moves it down. Your C value is what determines if your graph goes vertical. If it says plus 7, that means your parent function compared to this graph, this new graph is 7 up because it says plus 7 at the end. Your C value is positive 7. If your C value was negative 2 minus 2, your graph would go down 2 spaces. What moves your graph horizontally? What moves your graph left to right? What's your horizontal? What's going to change your horizontal movement of your graph? Donovan?
Negative B over M.
Negative b over m. Negative b over m moves it horizontally. If your equation said minus 2, which way would your graph move? Jaden?
To the right.
Why would negative 2 minus 2 move it to the right?
Because it's already negative, and then when you plug it into the equation, it's also negative, and 2 negatives make a positive.
Correct. Remember R-E-M, E-M, B-E-R. Remember, it's negative b, right? So it moves the opposite way. What makes your graph skinnier? What makes your graph skinnier? Jack, what makes your graph skinnier?
Bigger A value.
Okay, so here's how we have to think about it. The A value makes it skinnier, right? But it's the opposite of what you think. Because A, right, this number A, it gets multiplied in, right? A really affects the M, which is your slope, right? A value affects your slope. The number that's being multiplied to the X. I get it, it's on the outside, but it's there. if you have a bigger A value, meaning your A value is 3, that means your slope is 3 over 1. If your A value is 3, that means your slope is 3 over 1, meaning up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1, which makes it steeper, which is skinnier. If your A value is 1/4, that means it goes up 1 and over 4. Up 1 and over 4. That makes it less steep or wider. So an A value is what makes it skinnier. And in fact, its A is greater than 1. So what are some values that would make it skinnier? 1 is the parent function. So 2, 3, 10, 50. Anything that's greater than 1 makes it skinnier. What makes it wider? Close. A must be less than 1, but it also has to be greater than 0. So what are some A values that would make it wider?
1/8.
1/8. 3/4. What about 7/2? With 7/2, 7 over 2, make it wider or skinnier? Skinnier because it's greater than 1. 7 over 2 is greater than 1. What about negative 1/2? Makes it wider and upside down. If A is negative, flip it. If A is negative, flip it. It can get wider or skinnier below the x-axis. But that negative is your reflection piece. All right, so let's talk these through. Let's talk the movements. Look at this equation, y equals 5 times the absolute value of x minus 7. Identify the A, the M, the B, the C. Look at it, figure those out. And then tell me what are the transformations, what are the changes? So if I did this, if I did A equals, M equals, B equals, and C equals, if I identified them, what's your A value? 5. What's your M value? 1, good. What's your B value?
0.
And what's your C value? So what does this graph do? How is this different from the parent function? Does it matter that M is 1? Does that do anything?
No.
M being 1 doesn't do anything. Does B having a value of 0, does that change anything? No. So those don't matter in this problem. So what happens? Maya, what's one of them?
It goes down.
It moves down. How many?
-7.
Down 7. And what else?
And then
It's skinnier. It's skinnier is our middle school word, right? A compression. It's compressed. Right? Talk about the next one at your table. See if you can come up with the next sets. I suggest identifying your A, your M, your B, and your C. See if you can come up with the transformations. talk it through. Can you figure out without graphing it? Can you find for that next problem, who can tell me the A, the M, the B, and the C? Aiden, what do you get?
A is 0, M is 1, B is -5, and C is +2.
Okay, I'm going to say almost, you're right. A is not 0, right? It's technically 1. It's not going to change anything, right? Because it's 1. Because if it was 0, when we distribute it, that means that it would disappear. And we don't want -5 or the absolute value of x minus 5 to disappear. So it's outside numbers a 1. So you said A is 1, M is 1, B is 5, right? Or -5. When we substitute it into our problem, we're going to use +5. And C is 2. My negative on my 5 didn't really show up. So, does an A value of 1 change anything? No. Does a -b over m, does that do anything? Yes, a -5 over 1 is really -5 over 1, making it +5, so it goes to the right 5. And then what does this C value of 2 mean? Up 2. Next one, A, M, B, C. Who can tell me? A, M, B, C. Phoebe.
A equals 1/2.
Okay.
B equals 0.
B is 0.
M is 1.
M is 1.
C is 9.
C is 9. All right, does A of 1/2 do anything?
Yes.
What does it do?
It's wider.
Wider. Because it's between 0 and 1. Does -b over m do anything?
No.
Nope, because that's 0. There's no change there. Does C of 9 do something?
Yes.
What?
That could go on 9.
Perfect. Next one. What do you see? A, M, B, C. A, M, B, C. Who can tell me? Is this easier than graphing every single problem?
Yeah.
What's your A value? Maya, what do you get?
-4.
-4. What's your M value? 2. What's your B value? 3. And what's your C value? 0. Does an A value of -4 do anything? It does 2 things, in fact. What's the first thing that it does?
Down 4.
It makes it skinnier. What else does it do?
Make it upside down.
It reflects it. -4 reflects it because it's negative, and skinnier because 4 is greater than 1. The negative is what reflects it. The number is what makes it wider or skinnier. And then does B, -b over 2 do anything? -3 over 2. negative 3 over 2, because we have to find our x value in our vertex. What's negative 3? Negative b.
It moves to the left 3.5.
Not 3.5.
I mean, 3 over.
3 over 2. And move to the left 1.5. Or 3 over 2 if you want to leave it as a fraction. Next one, what's your A, what's your M, what's your B, what's your C? A, M, B, C. Who's got it? A, M, B, C. Amelia, what you get?
A -1,
-1,
M 5,
5,
B -3,
-3.
and C -3.
Perfect. Does a value of -1 do anything to my graph?
Yes.
It reflects it. Does my b, negative b over m, does that do anything? Yes. Negative b over m would be positive 3 over 5, 3/5. Meaning it moves which way, right or left?
Right. 3/5.
It moves right 3/5. If you want to talk decimals, it moves right 6/10, 0.6. What else? Anything else? C of -3 moves.
Down 3.
Excellent. Last one. What's your A value? 4/3. What's your M value?
5,
B value?
4,
And C value?
0.
Does an A value of 4/3 do something?
Yes.
What? Why does it make it skinnier? It's greater than 1. Does a B value over M, negative B over M, -1 over 5, what does that do? Left 1/5. And a C value of 0 does nothing.